So we're all set for another international break. So club football shuts down for another 10 days or so. 8 games into the European season and towards the end of MLS as well. I'm trying to think to myself, what are 3 things that have really surprised me so far? 3 things I did not expect. All right, so I challenged you both to find 3 yourselves, Sarah. Let's start with you. 3 things that perhaps 2 months ago you did not in a million years see happening.
Yeah, there's a few for sure. Number 1, I think, has to be Lamine Yamal and how well he's done for not only Barcelona but Spain. The youngest player to ever debut in not only La Liga but Champions League as well. 16 years old, 2 goals for Barcelona in the league, or a goal and 2 assists, a goal in the Champions League. He scored in his debut for Spain against Georgia, I understand, but still, that's massive for this young kid. Really just coming in and doing so well. You love to see the talent being pushed out, and I didn't think he would do this well, not to mention play every single match for Barcelona so far this season.
Amazing story, but is he different to Fati and Gavi and Pedri and all these other great young talents coming through Barcelona who are doing really well, don't get me wrong? But is he different to them?
Well, I wouldn't compare Pedri and Gavi to Ansu Fati because Pedri and Gavi have been successful at Barcelona and also have been, besides Pedri of late, they've been healthy. That's the thing. With Lamine Yamal, he's obviously way younger. So it's about how long can he, maintain this form and also maintain his health. So far, it's looking good. So we hope it just, stays up like that. But only time will tell, right?
I guess if you're good enough, you're old enough, right? The old adage goes in football. What else you got?
Jude Bellingham. Now we know Bellingham he was incredible for England, for Dortmund. That was never the issue. But to fit in so well with Real Madrid, I didn't expect it to be this good. He's leading La Liga. 8 goals this season above Jose Lu and Lewandowski. There's a couple of them at 5. He's the key player for Madrid. Everything is going through the sky. I didn't think it was going to be this good. And only Ronaldo has ever had such a good start, having 10 goals in 10 matches for Real Madrid. And now Jude Bellingham has that. He looks like he can break every record for this team.
What surprises me is obviously his output, but how he's taken that role of being the man at Real Madrid. He wants that. Not many players would want that. They fold under pressure on that type of spotlight, and he's taken it to a complete different direction.
Is he the best player in world football right now? On current form?
I think so.
The fact that you're even pausing and considering it just shows just what a surprise.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of anybody else. It might have to be him, I don't know. Unless I'm missing
Given
somebody.
the age too, right?
Yeah.
He's barely out of his teens.
But you're right, though, what you said about the confidence, too. Like, he really has that confidence. You see where he Euro step that player, and he had the Matador move.
Yeah, I love that.
Like, that is, you got to really have, the cojones to do that.
You got to remember, he's stepping into a team with Modric and Kroos.
Yeah.
Thibaut Courtois. These are big names, right? And he's outshining them all.
Give Ancelotti credit, though, right? Playing in a far more advanced role than he was at Dortmund, where it's more box-to-box. And even with England, you might see him in that 10. It's quite possible, actually. But we don't quite know where he'll play under Southgate long term. So for his new coach to see that ability and put him there, and it's been just a great success story so far. One more for you, Sarah.
Yeah, not as shocking as maybe the first 2, but Bayern Munich, just the form they're kind of in. 3rd in the Bundesliga, only 2 points off from the top, and it's early days still, I get that. But there was a lot of pressure on Thomas Tuchel, and it doesn't really seem like he's necessarily the guy that's fitting in. Harry Kane doing really well, but still, it's not enough to get them at the top. Their 2 Champions League matches they've played, they beat Man U 4-3, but at the Allianz, you're getting scored 3 goals at home. That's not good for a team like Bayern Munich. They are so much on a higher level that if you're getting scored that much at home, it's bad. And Copenhagen gave them a run for their money too. But they're just not... They don't look convincing. They don't look 100%. They look like there's issues still on that team. And I kind of thought with Harry Kane and hopefully Tuchel finally being there at the beginning of the season, maybe we'd see them be a lot better than they are. But Bayern aren't looking that good.
Imagine, Bertie? This prolific goal scorer, one of the best in the world, but the team around him can't succeed.
Wow.
Is it Harry's fault?
It must be all Harry's fault.
It must be Harry's fault, right?
And how about that? You leave Tottenham, and Tottenham become one of the best teams at the moment, the top team in the Premier League, and that's where my big surprise is. I'm all Premier League for this one, but it's not just them being at the top of the league, which is it's a huge feat after 8 games. They're not going to challenge for the title come the end of the season. I just don't see that happening. We've talked about their depth and whatnot. But what surprised me the most is how Ange Postecoglou's system has adapted to the Premier League so quickly and how the players have adapted to him. Like, don't forget, this is a team that was struggling for possession in games last season. We're talking less than 50%. Now they're averaging over 60% of possession in games. They're an attacking team. They just lost their best player, maybe the best player, well, definitely the best player in the club history, one of the best players in Premier League history, and they've gotten better. And it's so interesting that happened, because you would think the opposite would happen. They'd lose goals, they'd lose confidence, they relied on a player too much. But that's not the case. Sonny was asked about it post-match this past weekend against Luton. He goes, yeah, it's unfortunate that Kane left. I can stand here and talk about him all day long. But what I notice is inside that dressing room, everybody that's here took a lot more responsibility, knowing that they need to score, they need to perform in big games, which I thought would be the opposite. Because under Conte, under Mourinho, under Nuno, under Stellini, under Mason, they all folded, always.
Yeah.
And so they flipped the script. And then you look at the defense, one of the best back fours in the league, and it's all relatively new. Vicario's a new signing. Van de Ven, new signing. Udogie was signed last season, but first Premier League season. Pedro Porro was written off last season. Then you have Romero, who didn't have the greatest season last year, looks like one of the best center backs in the league. So everything together for Spurs is incredibly surprising.
Do you think if Kane had stayed there, right, with Big Ange, would they be in first place at this point?
I mean, it's hard to say.
Given what you just said there?
It's hard to say. Maybe. Look at the way that the football that they're playing would suit Harry Kane really well.
I think he'd have 10 goals by now.
And if you're putting Madison behind him as well.
Yeah.
And a healthy son. So it's hard to say. You really can't, come to a conclusion of whether or not. But if you're putting in one of the best strikers in the world on any team, you're going to be doing better.
Well, enjoy it while you can.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh.
I'm sure you
No,
will.
no, I completely understand that. Yeah, they're lacking in depth.
Depth is an issue, right? Let's be honest here.
If you look at that bench, it's weak. There's no center back coverage. There's no defensive midfield coverage. You look at like Arsenal's squad at the weekend and City's squad at the weekend, Liverpool. Those teams are at the top every single season for a reason. Not only because of the quality, but because of the men that they have behind those teams on the first team.
All right, next up, what do you have?
I'm going with United, and just surprised at how this might be strange to you guys. No. Chris Bassam. Hope to get better soon. Manchester United. Surprised at how unlucky Ten Hag has been so far. And I know Manchester United are underperforming, but it's been a tough season for Ten Hag. I mean, you have the Greenwood situation completely out of his control, right? Then you have the Antony situation out of his control. And then injuries. I mean, look at the back four that they just put out against Brentford. Harry Maguire, Johnny Evans, Lindelof was a left back. And who was playing right back was Diego Dalot. And even prior to that, you had Sofiane Amrabat playing at left back. So, I mean, the injury issues are huge for Erik ten Hag. And he's under pressure already coming off a season where they finished in the top four. They won a League Cup. We're in the FA Cup final in the Champions League. And we saw the progression of a project. But now, because of what's happening right now this season, it seems to have taken a huge step back. And then you're hearing Man United fans talk about him getting the sack by December. This wasn't even a question last season. So I'm just surprised at how unlucky he has been, because I do think he's a good manager. But when you have these issues off of the field and all these injuries, I don't care what club you are in the world, you're going to have some struggles.
I agree with you, but even under Ferguson, though, when they had injury issues, and there was times, many injury issues, they had that depth. There's at least 2 internationals at every position.
Right.
There isn't anymore, because the ownership have not. Well, they have spent a lot of money, but not spent wisely, not spent well, right? So I think you can blame the top of the head, and that is the ownership at that club.
Glazers, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm with you. Ten Hag has been unfortunate, but at the same time, he's not helping himself, is he? Going out in the media and singling players out.
Right.
There are some players, like Andre Onana has not helped Ten Hag whatsoever.
No, exactly.
His form has been horrific, and that's been like everything translating to Ten Hag, unfortunately.
Yeah, in that case, you would think Ten Hag had a lot of say in getting Onana in there and letting De Gea go.
Yeah.
Right? Hasn't worked out. One more for you?
Officiating in the Premier League.
Is it a surprise?
How's it gotten? It's gotten worse.
Well, that's true.
Right? Kovacic. Should he have been sent off for that challenge on Odegaard?
Has it gotten worse because of VAR, though, and all of this technology that we've had in recent years, that we are noticing the human error mistakes? I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just like, all of a sudden I just realized, like, beforehand we weren't really able to tell. But now there's so much technology where we can see that was obviously the wrong call. Is that part of it?
Well, that's why video system reviews here.
Yeah.
To cover those up and get rid of those. But that's not the case.
But those ones are more subjective, though, the Kovacic type tackles, right? I mean, I'm with you. It should have been a red card.
Well, the week
probably should have
prior,
had 3.
Curtis Jones did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I would even say Kovacic's is worse because it was a late challenge. The ball wasn't even there.
And
Curtis
it's
Jones went
and
over
it
the
was a
ball.
trailing leg as well.
Yeah. And then he went on to who did he foul after that? Was it Zinchenko? This similar type of challenge? He could have had 3 yellow cards in that game. It's just that the inconsistency is crazy throughout the entire league. There's so many issues. It's Kovacic and Jones. So Jones gets a red card, Kovacic doesn't. Virgil van Dijk, handled the ball in the box. Okay, went off his leg. I understand that, and it should not be a penalty. But a couple weeks prior to that, João Gomez, same situation. It was called a penalty. So It's the inconsistency. I don't agree that they should be penalties or shouldn't be penalties, but across the entire league, week to week, officiating it seems like they're just making it up on the fly.
It seems
and
that
I think as fans, as football fans too, we're being robbed of what we should be seeing.
I think that they're overly reliant on VAR, and they've been told that. It's been the mandate, right?
agree.
That don't make the big call, let the video replay assess it, right? And now we're seeing that part of the game getting it wrong as well, which is a real problem. That's why we don't. I'm not getting into a VAR discussion right now, but at least before there were big mistakes made, but there are human errors. You could understand it. Now it's hard to understand it when they go to the replay, or you get the fourth official talking to the VAR, and it's still getting it wrong. I just don't understand it at all.
It's there for a
real
reason.
problem.
Let's use it properly. And I don't know why they're not doing that. It can go back to even Matt Doherty on Ollie Watkins. Pushed them, clear push from the back.
Yeah.
Didn't even go to VAR. So
Yeah.
it's just frustrating watching.
It's
that.
frustrating for sure, but it's a good one. I'm going a little bit off the board here. Huang Hee-chan,
Yeah, your boy.
all right? Who had him with 5 goals so far this season?
Yeah, no
That's
one.
third
Not a
highest,
soul.
joined for third highest so far for Wolves, who are turning it around, a team that I don't think will be going down this season. But this guy's been fantastic. He came over last year from Salzburg and then Leipzig, of course, both Red Bull clubs. Did pretty well, got hurt. As Salzburg played with Haaland for a while there, so obviously some good pedigree. I just wonder how big this guy can become, because if he keeps scoring, you're going to see a big club come in for him. Because off the pitch, what he's done to Wolves and their social media and their brand, you can't put a value on. They are huge right now in Korea. Huge. And that means a lot of money, a lot of ad dollars as well. A big club will look at that, and a guy that can score goals at this level and will jump all over him. So Wolves make a lot of money, but I never would have thought that Huang Hee-chan would be a subject of my opinion 8 games
so
into
funny.
the season. I'm going to go to the Serie A here, the Milan clubs. 1 and 2 in the league, 2 losses combined. They've both been absolutely brilliant so far. AC Milan under the tutelage of Pulisic, who failed in England. We
Yeah.
thought he was done, right? Playing really well, scoring goals for fun right now, getting assists, being brilliant. As for Olivier Giroud, do you see him this weekend?
He's a keeper, actually.
He's a goalkeeper.
On the side.
Now, I love this
in.
story. So he comes on, his keeper's sent off, he takes the gloves, makes a big save. They're now selling Giroud goalkeeper shirts on the website.
I think he made Serie A Team of the Week as a keeper.
Yeah, and now they're sold out of shirts. I love the way this is all changing here. But yeah, I just think the Milan clubs are really bouncing back. Napoli haven't been great so far this year. Inter have been brilliant. We know that. They were good last year. But just both Milan clubs become relevant once again.
I would like to say, when we had a Champions League preview about 2 months ago, you and I had both said, though, that AC Milan was going to be a team this year. There was an inkling we had, but you're
did.
so right.
It's because they had a bad year last year, having won the year before. But now it seems they've got themselves together once again.
They had a bad year. They made it to the semifinals of the UCL.
Yeah, but Serie A though, right?
So- okay,
Serie A,
yeah.
I'm saying domestically.
Yeah.
I just think that Italian football needs both Milan clubs to be relevant, and they're back again this year. I didn't perhaps think they'd be this relevant this early on. My last one is here in North America. I mean, how can it not be Toronto FC? And not just the fact that they're failing, because 2 months ago they were still failing, right? But John Herdman is now coach of TFC, will actually take the helm on the sidelines for the first time against Orlando on the 14th. Poor old Terry Dunfield, thankfully he can walk away from that head coaching job for a while, because he didn't deserve that. But if I told you 8 weeks ago that John Herdman's coaching Toronto FC, we'd all have gone, you've got to be crazy. That's not going to happen. No chance in hell, right?
No way.
It's been one of the great disasters in modern professional football this season. It really has. I mean, their numbers are pathetic. They got the wooden spoon this weekend. In fact, official, the worst club in MLS this season. They're 1 point off their worst season ever, and there's been some pretty bad seasons there as well. They are pathetic. And for me, that is one of the stories in professional football across North America, given what they've spent, the highest payroll in North America.
I think it's
incredible.
It's more shocking to me that Herdman's the coach, not
Yeah,
that TFC
no, exactly,
are
it is.
dreadful. That's That's what that is.
Let's see what he's
this
gonna do.
it was there. I'm so curious to see what's going to happen in the off season here. He's going to be a busy man.
And Morbiello taking the helm for Canada for the first time this Friday against Japan.
Massive match.
Talk all about that on Friday's show. It's a big one, yes. So surprises 8 games into the campaign. 442picks.ca, by the way. Log on there. It's free to play, and you can win a ton of prizes weekly and monthly. Room 442 is brought to you by North Star Bets. That's a win.